Good afternoon, everyone. Eric Mashinsky with the Gold Investment Letter. It's February 13th. I wanted to take a few minutes to walk through my experiences with buying and selling and trading and storing cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of folks that are regular stock investors, I think, that are having a tough time wrapping your head around how to do it. And it can be a little confusing, especially as you go a little further down the rabbit hole to trade what are called the altcoins beyond the big ones like Bitcoin. And I'm going to walk you through that because I do that. I just realized I own 25 different cryptocurrencies now. I checked a few of my different accounts yesterday, and I'm up to 25 of them. Most of my money being in Bitcoin. Not Bitcoin is not one of my biggest two positions. Ethereum is the biggest. Litecoin is the second biggest, followed by Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. And so those are the big four that you could consider. I mean, Ripple is also up there, but not of interest to me. So those are the big four, and then you also have the altcoins, which are all kinds of different purpose coins on the blockchain. They serve different purposes. Some of them are there just for peer-to-peer transactions, like Bitcoin as a source of money. Some are privacy coins, so their whole shtick is that you can't determine who is sending what. And there's a bunch of other ones. I'm going to walk through a couple of examples of those, but I just want to say that from a resource standpoint, the site that is really popular right now, and I'm sorry I can't share my screen on this computer, for some reason it just does not work, but coinmarketcap.com is where I would go to check really the pricing on all cryptocurrencies. It's not real time, it's pretty close, but it's not real time. You do get pretty updated prices, and this particular site follows 1,528 cryptocurrencies, which are all of them that exist. They tabulate the full market cap of all the cryptos, which right now is $420 billion, I'm sorry. And also the Bitcoin dominance, what percentage of that is Bitcoin, which right now is about 35%. Down quite a bit from highs of being 80% of the crypto market not long ago. So the alts are really starting to come and take market share. And look, some of them are ridiculous. You look at the pricing and the valuation. I can't justify it at all. Some of them are very new, and some have got such revolutionary possibilities that who knows where they could go. There's just a lot of opportunity here is what I think. But let's just get down to and let me just preface this by saying this actually is not that complicated. I'm going to give you the ABCs of how to get started. And then you can decide if you want to really get very, very involved. What I want to touch on today is just to give my subscribers and listeners a chance to get in the game easily and simply, and not have to do too much beyond that, besides what you do with your typical brokerage firm and brokerage account. You're not going to call somebody up to put the order in for you, but more like an online account that you would just look at as your crypto platform. And when you talk about security, yes, Bitcoin, there's been things in the news over the years about hacks that have stolen Bitcoin and other coins. There's other exchanges that have lost altcoins recently. So the idea is that exchanges are hacked, not Bitcoin itself or anything on the blockchain. So the technology itself is extremely secure, and there's been nothing I've heard of in terms of anybody disrupting the ledger that keeps track of all this stuff on the blockchain for Bitcoin. It's that some hacker got into an exchange which included both the wallet, which you store the cryptocurrency in, and the private keys, which allows you to send the money. So if the exchanges keep all that in one place, you're susceptible to somebody breaking in and having that. Now, if you end up storing your wallet somewhere and then you keep the private key somewhere else, that makes it very difficult for anybody to get that information. I mean, somebody could end up stealing your, even a USB device that has your wallet on there and stores the currency. But if the private key is written down and set in a safe or somewhere else, they're not going to be able to do anything with it. So there's a lot of ways you can be very, very secure. And I would worry about that as you get deeper. If you get deeper, to have some serious assets in this arena. If you just want to get started, the easiest way to do it, and I'm going to speak in three camps. One is for US people, one's for Canadians, and one's for Europeans. Because there's a slight differentiation, I think, of what is best, particularly for Canadians. Canadians, the company that is the biggest processor of this stuff, particularly with the big coins, is Coinbase. They're a huge company now. I mean, they're processing insane amounts of transactions. And, you know, to say that this is a passing trend and, you know, the bubble's over and this is all done, I don't believe that. I mean, you can argue about what's a fair price for this stuff at any point, but, you know, we're talking about $17 billion of volume in the last 24 hours on these various exchanges. Bitcoin has traded $6 billion worth, you know, just in the last 24 hours. So there's a lot of money moving through these exchanges and these altcoins. It's big business, and Coinbase takes a cut of everything. And but it's reasonable, and it's actually the one that I have the most money with as far as an exchange. If you're a US-based investor, it's definitely your best bet to get started. If you're a European investor, I think it's also your best bet to get started. If you're a Canadian investor, you may want to consider Coinbase. You can buy with Coinbase, meaning you can send fiat money, your Canadian dollar, into your account to buy Bitcoin. And you can sell Bitcoin. You can sell Bitcoin, or you can't sell. There's only buys. So for Canadians with Coinbase, you can buy. But if it was for the purpose of buying Bitcoin, and I'll get into this. This is the second phase, which is where you get into the other exchanges. If you were to buy Bitcoin there, and then you send that Bitcoin elsewhere, you can use that Bitcoin to, say, buy other alternative currencies. But there's a limitation on selling. I don't know why. And it might serve the purpose of, if you want to end up moving money into these altcoins, then it's fine. But the one that I think is, it seems to be the most trusted for the Canadian folks that I know, is called Quadriga. So Quadriga is it's an exchange that is based in Vancouver, and you know, seems to be fine, seems to be good. A lot of people use it up there, and I would suggest taking a look at it. I'll give you the exact website right now. Quadriga CX is what it's called. QuadrigaCX.com. So for Canadians, I would look into that. That means that you can link a bank account. You can link your bank account and you can send money. So say, for example, if you have a TD Ameritrade or an E-Trade or a Schwab or any one of the online brokerages, I think the most common way for most of us to fund those accounts, if you're not going to send a wire, you can send a wire to these exchanges, by the way, if you want to send a lot of money. But you will have a limit. There'll be a cap in the case of Coinbase. Quadriga, I'm not really sure. I think it's probably similar. But you're going to have a certain amount you can fund in certain ways, like with credit cards. It's very, very low. They're actually phasing out credit card purchases on Coinbase as of now. So you link your bank account, you can do debit card transactions, but you're going to have a low cap, or you can wire in any amount you want, or you just link your account, you know, as you would. That's how I fund my brokerage account back and forth to my bank. If I need cash from my brokerage and send it to my bank, it's all done within about a day. And that's really the way that these exchanges will work. I'm going to focus in on Coinbase, and then Quadriga, if there's any alterations, you'll figure it out, but I think it's pretty similar. So Coinbase, all you would do there is you're going to go to Coinbase.com. and open an account. You're going to have to provide who you are. This is a KYC. They're compliant completely with knowing their customer and identifying yourself. You're going to have to prove identity. And once that's done and the verification is done, you will be able to link a bank account. You link the bank account and or send a wire into your account, and it would go into what is your US dollar wallet. So here's the thing that is a bit different from the stock exchange, is that we have, for example, if I go to my E-Trade account, I have 30, 40 securities that are all in that account, and I can buy and sell them. And it converts automatically back to US dollars. So what the cryptocurrencies do when they're launched, when they're started, they also launch a synonymous wallet so that they can be stored in the wallet. Think of a wallet as a wallet. I mean, it's a digital wallet. It's something you're going to put your money in and you close it up, and that's where it sits when you're not moving it around. And so the wallet is something that you can put. There's a lot of different places to put it. You could put it on a mobile phone through jacks. You can put it on a USB. And then what is good about the exchanges, good or bad, depending on how you look at the security, is Coinbase keeps your wallet right there for you. So they have a Bitcoin wallet that's your wallet. You buy Bitcoin, it goes into that wallet, and it's stored in your Bitcoin wallet on Coinbase. You can go to sell it at any point, and it goes right to your US dollar. If you're European, goes to your Euro wallet, and then you've got that cash that's in there. And you do the same thing if you want to buy or sell Litecoin or Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash. Those are the four big cryptocurrencies that Coinbase trades. That's it. There's no other ones as of now. So it's limited, but these are the big ones. So if you're going to get started, you get started with the big ones. My favorite is Ethereum. My second favorite is Litecoin. And then Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, I'm not going to get into it too much, but I own both. And I own more Bitcoin than I do Bitcoin Cash. But I think it's good to have a little bit spread out. If you're going to own only one, I don't even think it should be Bitcoin. I would go with Ethereum. And I could get into that and do another video of why I like some of these things. This one is set up so that you can get started. Now, if you do just that, then you're set. Like, say, for example, when I first did this on Coinbase, this is going back to when I bought my first Bitcoin on Coinbase at about $450. And I was talking with my gold investment letter readers when it went up to 2,500, I believe, or so. And I said, this is feeling bubbly. And I ended up on the first run there, I sold it from Coinbase, and I ended up shorting the GBTC ETF at that time. Luckily covered it after a week, not even 20% decline or so before it ripped to those all-time highs. So dodged a bullet there. But what happened with me selling my Bitcoin in the Coinbase, it sold it out of my Bitcoin wallet and it put it into my US dollar wallet. So you click on that US dollar wallet and it's going to ask you if you want to deposit or you want to withdraw. It's just like an online bank account, basically, is the way that it's set up. So then I put, okay, I wonder if I can even get this money out of here. I put it in here. I just made, 400 or 500%. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was something. It was decent. And so I ended up, I had the account, my Chase account linked, and withdrawal, put the whole amount, send. Within 24 hours, it was back in my bank in US dollars. And it was easy. So then later on, when I got back into Bitcoin, I just transferred the funds back from my bank onto Coinbase. It goes into the US dollar. Or you can end up saying, I just want to buy Bitcoin, and it'll convert it. And then it pulls the money from your bank account to buy it directly into the Bitcoin wallet. That's another option, especially if you're cleared for doing those transactions. There's actually instantaneous clearing for certain clients that meet certain metrics as you use it. Others, you have to wait, it's like a settlement almost. You have to wait for it to clear, which can take a few days, but really you lock in the price when you do it. Now, getting into the altcoins, this is where there's a lot of innovation happening. There's a lot of really cool technology going on. And this is where, there's more speculative opportunities. There's more scams. there's a lot of, it's like the Wild West, you know, and I like the Wild West. I love looking at these things and saying, which one of these is going to be big. And, you know, I built basically a venture capital portfolio. About 21 of the altcoins, besides the big four, are in I have them in two accounts, two exchanges that transact in the altcoin arena. And so here's the trick with getting into that world. What you have to wrap your head around, and it's really not that tough once you do it. Most of those exchanges on the altcoins, they don't take fiat currencies. So unlike Coinbase or Quadriga, you can't send US dollars, euros, or Canadian dollars or any other yen, whatever, to fund your account. So how do you fund it? The way I funded it, let's use the biggest one that's out there. They're very, very big, and I think it's probably the best. It's called Binance, B-I-N-A-N-C-E. And Binance is big. I mean, they're doing billions and billions of dollars of volume a day. They're the biggest out there, I think, in terms of the altcoin markets. They're run by a pretty savvy group that seems to be on top of their game. So I feel comfortable using it. So I had to send in cryptocurrency to my Binance account. And then usually with a lot of the altcoins, you can only use Bitcoin, in some cases Ethereum, to buy the altcoins. There's a whole network, a whole group of altcoins that are built on top of Ethereum, which is also why I like it, because it's basically, it was built right after Bitcoin to allow for smart contracts to be built on top of it, which Bitcoin is not set up for. It's a peer-to-peer currency payment system. Ethereum allows for more to be built on top of it, and a lot of these ICOs and altcoins decide they want to build it on top of Ethereum, and we're seeing that very often, which builds the value, I think, of Ethereum. It wasn't really built as a currency first. It was built as a blockchain system, I think, that now has got a valuable currency. Sort of, you know, a little bit opposite. And that's the way that a lot of these tokens and coins are set up. They're basically launching a protocol or a technology or a service on the blockchain, and then they will issue a currency, a cryptocurrency, a token, a coin. You call them what you want. Tokens and coins is what they are. They launch those so that you can use those interchangeably within their ecosystem, within that sphere of whatever they're providing. You can use those tokens to, it's like a reward program. There's even a Binance coin. So I have some Binance coin, not to confuse it too much, just thinking about how you can fund this stuff, but this is a good example. Binance, you know, you take your Bitcoin that you sent over, let's call it from Coinbase, into your Binance account, and then you have all these hundreds of altcoins you can buy. So you end up clicking Binance coin, which is a pretty big coin. I think it's traded around $8 or $10, I think, right now. And they use that so that if you use the Binance coin to buy other coins, you get a discount on your fees. And so they want to incentivize use of the Binance coin to make it more valuable in the marketplace, because it's got a function of being this intermediary within the exchange. So that's just one function. There's a lot of other ones, and I'll talk about at least one more example of what some of these altcoins do. But so, you know, if you go into Binance, you open the account. You also have to prove your identity, I believe, there. Maybe not as much as Coinbase, but say I bought $5,000 worth of Bitcoin in my Coinbase account. I funded it with my traditional checking account, and now I have a Bitcoin wallet with $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, which would be, call it 0.6 Bitcoin or something like that. So then what I have the option to do is on Binance, when it says deposit money, I can hit deposit under the Bitcoin symbol. And then what'll come up is it's a copy link. You copy a link, which is really a copy of your wallet link. That's your wallet code, if you will. And so when you copy that link to your wallet, you go back to Coinbase, and if you see your account there, it says send or receive within your Bitcoin wallet. And you click send, and it says, where are you sending it? And you paste the link. That's the link to your wallet, and you put in how much you're going to send, and you send it. And this is one of the benefits, even though Bitcoin's by far not the best. But you think about the time it takes for, the bank-to-bank transfers, even, with wires, certainly international wires, stuff can take a day, 2 days, 3 days. You'll have your Bitcoin in your Binance account within an hour, and probably it's going to be within 20 minutes, something like that. There was a bump in time that it had about a month ago when things were going crazy. Now it's a little bit faster. And essentially what happens is on the blockchain, there is a ledger that shows the record of you sending your cryptocurrency or your Bitcoin from Coinbase to Binance. And that's the money is kept track of, and there are confirmations between the two places. I think most of them require like 6 confirmations. There's a bunch of them. So they confirm it. Once they have their confirmations, your Bitcoin's in your account. So now you're sitting on, say you sent it all, 0.6 Bitcoin, $5,000 worth of Bitcoin sitting in your Binance account. You can use Bitcoin to buy any altcoin, any one of them on the system. You can use Bitcoin. So basically you're using your Bitcoin as the currency to invest in the cryptocurrencies and the altcoins. That's it. And, so then if you want to get your dough out of there, if you want to convert back to fiat, at least at this time, and a lot of this is going to change. This is why I think we're going to have another really huge explosion of interest in this area. It might not even be for a year or two, but it's going to be when the technology is all very seamless and people can take fiat to crypto, to fiat, and just move it easily. Now you've got to do stuff like this, where you've got to do fiat to crypto on one exchange, send the crypto to another exchange to buy other cryptos. There is one thing I want to mention, and I'm going to open an account today. I haven't done it yet, but one of the exchanges that I think is really good, they're very, very well backed, run by big Silicon Valley money, called uphold.com. And their whole shtick on the front page is from US dollar to Bitcoin in seconds, and 34 other currencies too. The trusted, low cost, and easy to use digital money platform. So I think this one is very viable if you wanted to do something besides Coinbase. And look, it's a little bit of a pain, but for me, I'm opening a handful of these accounts, and I'm putting some fairly significant amount of money in them. And I'm going to be moving some of the funds into what is called cold storage. So it's going to be offline, and I'm going to store it like I do my gold. And that could be in a number of different places. But it's going to be physically stored. And I'm not going to worry about selling that portion of my cryptocurrencies. But for the other stuff that's moving around and it's liquid, then you have you have some risk that you're on the exchange. We know that there's been hacks. You have to really look at that as part of the risk of getting in the game. It's a low risk. I mean, I put a chunk of my cryptos on the Coinbase network into now what they have is it's a vault. And the vault has got, you can't move money for 48 hours, and you have to have double, not only the 2-factor authenticator, but it's from 2 different email sources. So tough for a hacker to get that. I mean, tough, unless you use the same password everywhere. And I mean, it's possible, but I think it's very unlikely. So that's safe. But, I just look at it like this is the Wild West. So in the Wild West, you have some risks that crazy stuff can happen. Somebody come and steal your bag, put a gun to your head, and ride off with it. Now, I don't think that's likely, but you just want to look at this as part of the game at this point. But it's also a reason to do it now, because I think that this is the thing. A lot of people won't go through this process. They're like, screw it. I just don't want to deal with all this. I don't know how to do it. And that's why I'm saying that down the road, there's going to be another massive surge of people that are going to get adopted into this area, because this stuff is not going away, folks. It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of usage. in the world. You can argue about what's the fair price of Bitcoin. Is it 1,000? Is it 100,000? All day long. But the usage of this stuff is going to permeate every single area within society. And that's coming. You can bank on it. So I look at it like, even though the prices were high recently, I think, I wanted to get the ball moving and just learn about how to do this stuff so that I could be one of the people that, if I did want to get into the action or buy some of these altcoins, before the masses have the ability to do it in a way that's seamless and really super easy, even though this isn't really tough. It's just that you have to realize that this is a whole nother level of money, and it's all interchangeable. And I think it's actually a good mental exercise to really understand you can keep your money in all kinds of different stuff. And now it's going to be very interchangeable. You know, you think the dollar's going down, what do you put it into? Most of us put a lot of that safe money into physical gold, which keeps that value of its own, the store of value over long periods of time. You could think that Bitcoin's gotten too cheap, put it into Bitcoin. You think that somebody smashed an altcoin that is down too far, and you just transfer your Bitcoin and buy it up because you have an account on Binance. I mean, these are things that, and here's another thing I'll say is that if you're a trader, you got to be in this area. I mean, you really have to. You're missing out. I mean, there's 20% moves every day. It's crazy. I mean, it's really wild being in this, just even with Bitcoin. I've had good success trading Bitcoin. I've mostly been working on just building a long-term portfolio, diversified portfolio, stuff I just don't want to touch for a while. And then, you know, I'll go back to putting a trading stake in there. I have some trading stake that I go back and forth on. It's not a ton of money, but it's very profitable if you are a trader. These are markets, and they move a lot faster and a lot more volatilely than a lot of the other ones that we're used to. But for a trader, that's good, you know. So something to keep in mind. And I will say, beyond that, if you open a Coinbase account and you want to put serious money into this area, like say it's at least 50 grand, 100 grand or something like that, which and you can do it for less. I mean, you can do it with 10 grand if you want to, but GDAX.com is also owned by Coinbase. It's the same company, but it's a platform built for institutions. So you can do limit orders. If you're on Coinbase and you want to buy Bitcoin, it's a market order only. That's it. So you just hit the market, boom, they give you the quote. If you wait too long to hit the button, they reset it, and that's where it is. It's very liquid, so, you know, but you're going to know exactly the arena you're going to buy it in, but not the exact price. On GDAX, the cost, the fees of transacting are much cheaper than Coinbase, a lot cheaper. So if you're going to do any trading, it's really best to open a GDAX account, which is all done through Coinbase anyway. You have to go through it, but if you provided the proof through Coinbase, it's a lot easier to get approved. And then once you're there, you know, you can, and to do that as well, like I tried to send in fiat money from my bank to GDAX, and it was taking like 5 days or something to get in there, and I had to have it hit to be able to buy. You know, just like with your brokerage account, you need money in the account to be able to transact. But in this case, the next time I ended up transferring Bitcoin, I just put there's a wallet in my GDX, there's a wallet in my Coinbase. My Coinbase wallet had Bitcoin in it. I pressed receive. It gave me the link to copy for GDAX. In this case, I think actually it's a button. It just says transfer from Coinbase from your account. And boom, click it. The cryptocurrency is over in that account instantly. And then you can trade it. You can sell it, buy it, put limit orders in. Put a limit order in that's good till canceled. So like if Bitcoin hits 15,000, then it gets hit whether I'm out golfing or not, just like we do with stocks. So, you know, it's a very interesting world. I hope this helped some of you, but to summarize, you know, just open an account on an exchange that will allow you to exchange fiat currency from your bank into cryptocurrency. From there, and this would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. I like to focus primarily on Ethereum and Litecoin for long-term investments. But Bitcoin, you should have some Bitcoin. Everybody should have a little bit of Bitcoin. I think it's still the kingpin for now. But once you're there, and here's one other thing I'll say about sending currency to Binance, for example, to buy altcoins. I usually send Litecoin. Litecoin's faster. It's just boom. I send the Litecoin from my Coinbase account over to Binance. It's twice as fast. I mean, it's there in like minutes. Minutes money is moved over from God knows where the servers are in these things in the world. Boom, over there. And then I'll take the Litecoin, convert it to Bitcoin, which is like pennies in the fees too. I mean, it's a couple of bucks. I mean, it's not a lot of money. And that's if you're doing a lot of volume. So not big fees, low fees. And then I've got the Bitcoin there because I've got to use that to go buy the altcoins or Ethereum in some cases. But you can send all kinds of stuff. You can end up, once you have cryptocurrencies on Binance, you could send them to a USB wallet through the Trezor wallet or through the Nano wallet. Those are the two most popular. Those are basically USBs that are set up as with wallets on them for a lot of the different cryptocurrencies. So it would allow for you to, say you went and bought XYZ coin on XYZ token on a Binance, and you didn't feel comfortable having a bunch of it on the exchange or any of it on the exchange, or you didn't want to be tempted to sell it anytime soon because you just wanted to lock it away for a long time and see what happens, you can end up selling or sending the cryptocurrency to your other wallet and that you can basically take offline and store it in a safe. That will be my next video where I'm actually going to be moving some of my cryptocurrencies offline, and I'm going to go through that experience and I'll be able to help you with that. But first things first, you got to get started and get things rolling, and then you worry about where am I going to put this stuff, where am I going to let it sit. One other example too, I know I said in summary, but there's not much to summarize here. I think that just another couple of examples on the cryptos. So like, for example, I'm just going to CoinMarketCap. One of the deals that I think is really interesting is, it's called SALT. And I've heard about this from a couple of the bigger players in the crypto space. Very interesting. So SALT is basically a platform where people can borrow against their cryptocurrency portfolios and crypto value. You know, there's a big possible need for this. I mean, just like businessmen and women and people have needs for cash but don't want to sell their stocks, and then they end up borrowing via margin or via some other equity loan, asset-backed loan. This is the same thing with SALT, but it's going to do it with cryptocurrency. So if you have a $1 million account in crypto and you don't want to sell them, but you need $500,000, you could go on the SALT platform and they're going to end up offering you loans. I believe it's peer-to-peer, or it's partner banks and peer-to-peer. And that's going to be big. And they're the first ones on the block from what I know. The SALT token, the SALT currency, will be used within that entire ecosystem. So you need X amount of SALT to become a member and to do transactions and to list and to lend and to borrow. And so there's value in that. And they actually use that value to determine certain things that are going on in the ecosystem. And so, that's one application. You're basically buying, and I've bought a decent amount of SALT recently on this pullback. It's at $4 right now. And who knows? I mean, if this stuff continues to go, who knows where that one could go? It could go back, it could go to $1, but it could also go to $100. So for me, I built a portfolio of altcoins, 20 approximately to start, that are not big amounts of money. They're modest amounts of money, knowing that probably a quarter or even a half of them will be dog crap. Some of them will go bankrupt. And then a few of them are going to go to Pluto, and I'll make a lot of money. That's really the basic premise with that, with the venture approach. Really quick, let me see if there's another coin that I know. I'll just talk about like Monero, for example. Monero is the 13th biggest cryptocurrency with a $3.7 billion market cap, if you will, trading at $236 per Monero. Monero is a very high security privacy coin. So essentially, you talk a lot about the governments and what they're going to be able to do or what they're going to want to do with regulation or taxation. or banning, even though we're not seeing any banning, not even in China. China has banned certain elements within the crypto market with mining and exchanges, but it's not illegal to own Bitcoin. And you're seeing people get around a lot of that stuff. And that's what's going to be very interesting to see. And with something like Monero, the government can't track it. They're not going to be able to. So, and that's a lot of falsity that's out there. I mean, there's even like Jordan Belfort, who I like, the Wolf of Wall Street. He's talking about how the governments are just not going to allow this to happen. They're going to shut it all down. Look what's happening in India and South Korea and China. Now, one of those instances in any of those countries has banned the right to own cryptocurrency. None of them. Look at the details. It hasn't happened. In fact, the U.S. Congress just got together, what was it, last week, and basically came out of these meetings and said, we're not going to squash this thing. We want to allow for innovation, but we do need to have some regulation on the sector, which is fine. Nobody's stopping this thing, guys. And if they wanted to, or if there's other reasons for people to be private, some things like the privacy coins like Monero they're gonna have a use out there. So I think that's one that could do pretty well also. And then you can go down to the really, really tiny ones. Zcash is one, ZEC, that's also a privacy coin. And there's others with other bells and whistles that they're built so that other coins and tokens can be built upon them in a better way, from evolutions of Bitcoin and Ethereum that are trying to improve that process. And this is always moving and always improving, and somebody's going to end up being the Bitcoin of the future, I'm sure, that we use for actual payments, which goes to show, like, for example, if I were to send money around right now with my cryptocurrencies, I'd probably do it with Litecoin versus Bitcoin because it's less expensive and it's faster. But Bitcoin is where it is right now, and they've got some challenges, but they've also got the 800-pound gorilla benefit, even though I think Ethereum has a good shot of passing them up in terms of market value in 2018. So that's it for now, guys. It's a lot of information. Shoot me your questions, your thoughts. If you didn't understand something I said, really the way that you'll be able to understand it is just open an account and get started. Ciao.